Disney has a lot of plans for the next few years. A lot, seriously.
This is going to be so cool!
Do you have any idea of the amazing things they're about to bring to theaters for us to watch? One of those things is something we're all counting down the days to see, the Bluey movie. The Australian cartoon isn't produced by Disney, but the company is responsible for its international distribution. The film will be a co-production between Ludo Studios, the team behind the episodes of the series, and BBC Studios. Disney will handle the worldwide release. Quite the partnership, right? From what we know about the film's development, we can already be sure it's going to be very different from anything we've seen in the series. That's because the animation will be done by Cosmic Dino, a studio that produces 3D animation. And yes, this means Bluey the movie won't have the same 2D animation style the show is known for. It'll be made with computer graphics, just like most animated movies released in theaters. Everyone is eager to see how the little blue healer will look when she becomes three-dimensional, something that has a great chance of working really well, but could also turn out weird if the animation doesn't look right. We believe the movie will be great, especially since Joe Brumm, the creator of Bluey, is heavily involved in the production and will surely make sure this new step for the franchise honors the 3 seasons of the show. If you're excited for Bluey the movie, just know that the wait will last until August 6th, 2027. That's when the film will finally arrive in theaters around the world. And that's only one of the 10 Disney and Pixar movies set to be released soon. So grab your popcorn and get ready. This is the start of another Cinewave. You've probably noticed that lately, Disney has been making a lot of sequels to its hits from the past 2 decades. And because of that, everyone's waiting anxiously for their childhood favorite to get a sequel too. If Coco is your favorite Pixar movie, it's time to celebrate because a sequel has officially been announced. The story about a boy named Miguel traveling to the land of the dead became one of the studio's most emotional productions, an absolutely huge success, both at the box office and especially with critics. Coco 2 is still in the early stages of development and is scheduled to be released in 2029, about 12 years after the first movie hit theaters. How old were you in 2017 when the first Coco debuted on the big screen? Since the new film has only recently started production, we don't have details about its story yet. What we can be sure of is that we'll be making an epic return to the land of the dead. Inside Out 3 is a bit different because it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but pretty much everyone is convinced it's going to happen sooner or later. The first Inside Out was already a massive success, but the second one managed to go even further, becoming the highest-grossing animated film of all time for a while. It would be really strange if Pixar didn't move forward with a third chapter for Riley and her emotions, especially since it was Inside Out 2 that made Disney realize the secret to success these days is making sequel after sequel of their best films. Disney is definitely thinking about it, especially because the director of Inside Out 2, Kesley Mann, has said clearly that he's open to making another sequel to show more of Riley's life and the little world inside her head. He even admitted that he had a lot of unused ideas that could easily be worked into a third movie. One of the best things about this franchise is that, unlike other sagas like Despicable Me, where nobody ages, each Inside Out movie shows Riley in a different stage of life. If there's a third one, we'll probably see her as an older teenager or maybe even a young adult just starting out. Just imagine all the amazing things that could happen in a story with an older Riley. Encanto is phenomenal, and nobody disagrees with that. Just like Inside Out, its sequel hasn't been officially confirmed, but there are plenty of signs that it's only a matter of time before Encanto 2 gets announced. Lin-Manuel Miranda, the songwriter for Encanto, mentioned in an interview that he wanted to see themed attractions for the movie in Disney parks before a sequel was made. And guess what happened? Recently, it was announced that Stephanie Beatriz, the actress who voices Mirabelle, would reprise her role in a new theme park attraction at Walt Disney World, recording new lines that will be played as part of the ride. So yeah, the movie has already made its mark in Disney's theme parks. On top of that, in March 2025, we got some great news from John Leguizamo, the actor who voices Bruno. He revealed that Disney is already working on developing a story for Encanto 2, even though the sequel isn't officially in production yet. Once a solid draft is ready, the movie will definitely be announced. If you're also super excited for these upcoming Disney movies, drop a comment down below with #Disney. And now Zootopia 2. There's a lot to say about this one, right? The movie not only has an official release date, but it's already had several trailers and is completely ready to hit theaters very soon, on November 27. We already know quite a bit about the story, which will show Judy and Nick getting caught up in another conspiracy in the city. This time, the plot will revolve around a snake that's been wrongly accused of a crime, at least as far as we know, and who's actually tied to a much bigger mystery. The rabbit and her partner will try to stop him from being thrown in jail in order to uncover the real culprit, but that will also put them on the run from the police. Everything points to this adventure being just as epic and full of twists as the first movie, maybe even more so, since we'll be introduced to snakes and other reptiles in this universe. In the original Zootopia from 2016, prejudice was a very strong theme. For anyone who was worried that the sequel might ignore that, don't worry, the reptiles will face even more discrimination than the carnivorous mammals. They'll be completely feared and will live in a part of Zootopia unknown to the other animals. How it all plays out is something we'll only find out on November 27th. The Incredibles is one of Disney's franchises with the wildest release gaps when you think about it. The first movie came out in 2004. The second in 2018, 14 years later, and the third has already been announced but doesn't have a release date yet. It's expected to come out in 2028 or later. It's a franchise that the last 3 generations of Pixar fans have grown up with. Unlike the first 2 films, The Incredibles 3 won't be directed by the creator of the series, Brad Bird. That role will go to Pete Sohn, the director of Elemental. The reason for that is that Brad Bird is busy directing another animated movie called Ray Gun, which will be released on Netflix in 2026. And that one also looks really interesting, by the way. But relax, he'll still be writing the script for The Incredibles 3. And that's what matters most when it comes to this franchise, since what really sets it apart from other superhero movies is the story. Speaking of story, The Incredibles fandom is going crazy waiting for this movie, and spinning countless theories about what the new adventure for the Parr family might look like. Some fans think Pixar will finally be bold enough to make a time jump and show Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's kids as older. One of the big disappointments people had with The Incredibles 2 was that the story picked up exactly where the first film ended, even though the sequel came out more than a decade later. Frozen 3 seemed like a dream years ago. But now, we know for sure it's happening. And it's happening with a confirmed release date, November 24th, 2027. The movie will bring back Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, and Olaf, and will also meet a mysterious new member of the family. We're not sure who it will be, but some fans are theorizing it could be Anna and Kristoff's child, especially since it's already been confirmed that the two will get married. Some images and concept art from the movie have also been shared, which tells us 2 things. First, the film is going to be gorgeous. And second, it's already at a pretty advanced stage of development. Since the animation won't hit theaters until the end of 2027, the studio has plenty of time to create a top-quality experience. Toy Story 5, just like The Incredibles 3, is another film that's going to bring back an older franchise for today's generation. And it's sure to excite both kids of the new generation and the grown-ups who watched the very first Toy Story back in the 90s. Pixar's most classic saga always finds its way back, and this time the return will happen on June 19th, 2026. That's coming up fast, right? The months are flying by. We already have some images from the film and even the opening scene, which leaked. Thanks to that, we know that the toys' enemies this time will be electronics, which are stealing all the kids' attention. And here's something else. The director of the film, Andrew Stanton, suggested that Pixar wants to make even more movies about Woody and his friends' adventures in the years to come. What do you think about that decision? Actually, here's another question. What do you think about hitting that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our videos about your favorite cartoons?
This is brilliant.
The next Pixar movie, however, isn't Toy Story. That title goes to the feature film Hoppers. The animation has already had a trailer released, and we've got a pretty good idea of what the premise will be. It's about a girl whose consciousness gets placed into a robot beaver so she can live in the wild alongside other animals. And that's just the beginning of a crazy, humor-filled adventure. Its release date is set for March 6th, 2026. It's good to know that Disney still has room for original films, right? Another one that's being produced and isn't a sequel to anything is called Hexed. and it's set to be released on November 25th, 2026. Its story sounds just as interesting as Hopper's, if not more. The film will be about an awkward teenager who discovers that his weirdness is actually magic. Then, he and his mom will be taken into a world where magic can run wild. Just from reading this synopsis and looking at the concept art of that magical world, it's clear this movie is going to be completely outside the box. Want to keep the fun going? Click on one of the two videos we left up on your screen. Thanks, and see you next time.